Hey, what's up gamers? Hope you're doing good. Hello and welcome to another ShaderCraft tutorial. In the previous tutorial we looked at creating this custom render pipeline, and adding this blit feature, assigning the outline shader, and in this one we are going to continue on to make this posterize effect. And you can see the one that Unity made looks like this. So it's sharp, right? So it doesn't look nice, at least to me. Although it has a benefit over the one that I'm gonna make, which is that you can specify how many edges dynamically, but otherwise it doesn't look that good. So mine looks like this, and the idea is kind of simple. I'll show you the code of Unity first, or I guess, well, without showing the code, it's just I can show you here. So this is my shader, and same thing, we are getting the output of the final render basically, and sampling it, but then so I just added this branch so that I can turn on and off this effect. Anyways, so you can then use the color space conversion node to convert the colors from RGB, red, green, blue, to HSV, which is hue, saturation, V is value, also known as H is B, and B is brightness. And then we are not going to touch the hue nor the saturation. We are only going to play with the value, right? And what we are going to do essentially is that we are going to make it, let's say we want 4 edges, then we are going to make it 4 values, and there is no range between them. The normal is that it's a range between 0 and whatever it is, right? So to do that, I created this subgraph. One second. So I created the subgraph, which so it takes what is the edge that you want, and it takes the value of the brightness, using the value, well, connecting the value to the input of the smooth step, and then the smooth step, what it does is that it returns either 0 or 1, and a little bit of range between 0 and 1 around the edge 1 and edge 2. So I'm using edge only one value, but then I'm adding a little bit so that there is a range between like whenever we jump from 0 to 1. And this looks like this. You can test it like how I did here. If we get just an example, the Y of the UV, and so the edge will define where it starts, right? And you can see there is a range between the 1 and the 0. So going back here, okay, range, you add a little bit to it, you put it to the edge 2, and the edge 1 goes to edge 1, the value goes to input, and then we are going to use this, it's either 0 or 1, right? And so we have to do a lerp to go from the value of edge to the lower output value that we want. And I'm gonna show you back in a second what does that look like. And then we are going to output, and you can add them here, both of them are vector 1. We are going to output the value of this lerp and the value of this smooth step, because we are going to use it as well. And then going back here, this is actually my subgraph, right? So we are, just an example again, we are using the y of the UV, and then the edge is going to define where it starts, and you can see that when it is low, then the rest is going to have the same value as this, right? So when you go up, it will be brighter because it's the rest is 0.5 or whatever it is, and this is going to be this value, the lower thing, right? So going back here, I defined parameters. Let me show you how they look like. Just a slider. First one is between 0 and 0.5, second one is 0.0 and 1, and 0.1, and the last one is between 1 and 5, because this brightness value might be more than 1, and I'll show you in a bit how does that look like. So for the first step, the first edge, we are going to go from 0 to whatever edge value we want, and the second one we are going to go between the last edge, right? The lower output is the last edge, because that's what we want. We want to jump from the last edge value to the next edge value, and all of them are connected. The value, all of them are connected to the B, and so you just repeat the same thing, right? And so the output is going to be between 0 and this edge, but we want to mix the next step, right? And so we can do that using the smooth step output. So it's going to go between 0 and the edge until we hit the second edge. It's going to go between the second edge and so on. So you just do this slurp again and again, and you connect it back. You convert back from HSV to RGB, and you connect it back to the emission. And so this looks like this, right? So you can change. First one does not really look like what it's doing. So this is the second one. You can see how the edge is defining, and this is the third one, and this is the last one, which is like for very like you can see here, for example, the reflections. It's the very high values, right? So that's gonna be it for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice one.